Welcome to your new moon in Libra yoga experience. Go ahead and come to the top of your mat, bringing your 2 feet together and gently softening the gaze as you inhale and deepening the breath as you exhale. Continuing to breathe here deeply, nourishing your body with your breath, and beginning to tap into this quiet, dark night. This is a hiatus moment, a little break for us to reflect. And the new moon in Libra is an invitation to reflect on balance, harmony, equanimity, equilibrium, our homeostasis, and how we can create balanced partnerships. So as you tune in here, begin just to rock forward and back, experimenting and exploring your balance. We're going to practice a few balancing poses here to tap into this Libra energy. Libra is the scales. So as you rock forward and back, experimenting and seeing what it's like to be off your balance, and then allow yourself to come back into equilibrium, harmony, balance through the axis or the plumb line of your being along the spine, Sushumna Nadi, and drawing your awareness and your energy inwards towards the center of your being, your pivot point. And then rocking left to right, right to left, coming off your balance. And just seeing, what does that feel like to be off my balance? And then coming back into balance, noticing the body is self-correcting and naturally brings itself into balance if we allow it to. And then breathing in here, finding an equal inhale, an equal exhale. Balancing the inhale with the exhale. And then we're just going to lift the right knee up into the air, bringing the knee out, clasping at the ankle if you need, and then placing the bottom of the right foot on the inner left thigh here in our tree pose. Simple balancing posture. If you need to bring the foot lower onto the calf or even touch the toe to the ground to get started, feel free. Otherwise, just anchoring the foot in here, and rather than dipping out, creating an imbalance in the hips, notice and see if you can bring your seat, your tailbone, and your coccyx into harmony and balance, into alignment with your spine, engaging the muscle here and lifting up through the left hip, and just exploring what this balance is like. And noticing how when we focus our gaze, our drishti, softly in a single point, then we're truly able to come into balance by stilling the mind with our focused concentration. And if you like, bringing the arms up or even at the heart center. A few more breaths here. Equal inhale, equal exhale. One more breath here, perhaps 4 counts in and 4 counts out. And then releasing the foot down to the earth, maybe shaking out the left leg, and then taking a moment to pause and bask in the after effect of the balancing posture. Just noticing now the difference between the right and left side. Noticing what the left side's response was to having to do all the hard work. Maybe it's a little cranky. And then lifting up, grounding through the right leg, finding stability, lifting the left leg up, bending at the knee, opening the hip safely, and then perhaps clasping at the ankle or simply bringing the inner the bottom of the left foot to the inner right thigh. And breathing here. We began on the right side because of our ascending colon begins on the right side and the descending colon on the left, so thereby just supporting the natural flow of digestion, even if it's very subtle. So one side is not better than the other, rather we're just going with the natural flow here. I've heard yoga teachers say that they go on the right side first because it's a, patriarchal system built for men. That's not true in this context. Rather, it's the wisdom of the body. So just noticing now, looking at the issue of justice maybe coming up, even within something as simple as our yoga practice, and seeing if you can calm the mind by focusing the gaze here and tapping into a true sense of beauty and harmony, symmetrical balance, by not allowing the right hip to dump out, but actively engaging both sides here. My coccyx or tailbone is pointing down, and I'm zipping up through my low belly, maybe even activating my bandhas, the root lock, by lifting the pelvic floor. That's a constriction or contracting of the genitals and even the anus to find the bandha or the root lock that is like the 3 finger widths below the navel, Mula Bandha. Seeing how this strengthening of the bandhas, this lock, allows you to find an even more solid balance. Breathing here, perhaps bringing the arms up if you haven't already, or bringing the hands to the heart center. Equal inhale, equal exhale. Perhaps deepening the breath to 6 count inhale and a 6 count exhale. A few more breaths here, staying lifted rather than dumping out through the right hip. See if you can really lift, stay lifted. And releasing and shaking out the right leg before coming to your Tadasana, balancing posture with the feet together. And basking or reposing, noticing the effects of this balancing asana, this pose, tree pose. Beautiful. And now just seeing how this Tadasana or our mountain posture is actually a balancing posture when we bring our feet together, but when our feet are separate there, it is not so. Here, let us move into an airplane posture, a balancing warrior 3. So coming and stepping forward with your right side, or just simply lifting the left leg to tip yourself backwards. Beautiful. Balancing here on the right foot and arching the back, lifting the heart, keeping the neck long rather than kinking the neck back. The gaze is in front of us. See if you can focus on a single point. You can move your arms in front of you for more engagement here, or even to deepen the balance, or bring the hands to the heart. I like to have my arms back, just making sure the hips are square with an internal rotation of the left leg. Beautiful, and release. And we're just going to move on to the left side, lifting the right leg or stepping forward with the left foot, whichever you prefer. Just tipping and balancing, keeping the drishti soft and focused on a single point as you balance here and internally rotate the right thigh to square the hips, lifting the heart, and let's come down. Whew. Balancing postures right away can be a little bit tricky, challenging, so just noticing and giving yourself some love and gratitude for your practice and for showing up. Beautiful. We're now going to tap into this really restful energy of the new moon, coming to our mat for some restorative postures, some yin yoga, regenerative restorative yoga. Go ahead and grab your blocks if you have any, or a bolster, or perhaps a pillow and a blanket. Even a towel will do in a pinch, and come down to meet me on your mat. Beautiful. Just taking a moment here to pause in Vajrasana on the knees, maybe even practicing broken toe pose by sitting up on the demi point of your ankles while your toes are at a demi point here, and just activating all the meridians and the energy channels in the toes as you sit back here. And you might like to explore different angles with the knees. Perhaps they're right in front of you, or I like to open mine up in like a V shape. And just notice feeling into the toes, trying to distribute the weight equally so your big toe's not getting all the pressure. And just breathe here for a few breaths. Equal inhale, equal exhale. Great. And then sitting back on the knees, let's just warm up the spine here with some spinal flexion. We're not trying to go extremely deep here. We're rather just working on activating our supple spine. So inhaling forward, exhaling back, inhaling lift to the chest while the chin stays parallel to the earth, and concaving the chest backward. And if your hands move forward and back, that's fine, or perhaps you'd like to come up on the fingertips if that is annoying for you. But let's begin and start. Inhale forward, exhale back. Deepening the breath. Go as slow or as fast as you like. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Keep up. You can gauge the optic nerve, gazing up at the third eye or even the space between the eyebrows. Maybe even activating your root lock. Gently. Warming up the spine. Balancing the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system with the inhale and the exhale. And when you're ready, finishing up, coming to a moment of stillness, continuing to gaze up at the third eye, lifting through the root, and just feeling the sensations. Maybe you feel like tingling, sparkling, the body coming alive. Maybe you feel your blood flowing faster, an increase in circulation, and then eventually the calming of the nervous system. A sense of peace, harmony, homeostasis. And coming to a seat, we're going to bring our feet out in front of us for a nice grounding forward fold. Go ahead and grab a block, or maybe you like to lay your bolster along your legs lengthwise, and then just taking a moment to pause here, maybe even placing the palms firmly down on the earth, dropping the shoulders and pressing down into the earth for a little stick posture. And then lifting the chest, lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl here, lengthening through the lower lumbar spine as we come forward, and then eventually roll, perhaps rounding at the spine, finding some support with your block, and releasing engagement and moving into this yin pose. The new moon is the most yin moment in our lunar cycle. The infradian rhythm of the moon cycle. Infradian rhythms are those that are longer than our circadian rhythm. So women's hormonal symphony is an infradian rhythm that takes place over 28, 29 days, similar to just like the moon. And surrendering deeply here into this restorative posture, closing the eyes. If you'd like to keep your breath, mindfulness practice on your breath, practicing a 6-count inhale and a 6-count exhale, or allowing the mind to wander, daydream, in a lucid state so it can process, and perhaps even tapping in through the lucidity of the wandering mind, the daydreaming into your intuitive, imaginative, akashic, astral plane. And deepening into surrender, honoring and observing the new moon energy, the dark night, when the sun and moon meet in the sky, and the moon blocks the light of the sun, plunging us into darkness, an invitation to reflect, to reset, staying here and allowing the muscle to be bypassed through a relaxed posture. There is limited or no muscle engagement as we've propped ourselves up to the best of our ability so that we can access the connective tissue, and holding for at least a minute will allow that connective tissue to start to be removed, or more mobility to be accessed at the level of the vasha, the connective tissue. Noticing as you find an even deeper connection to the stillness that has always been there, and that now you're able to connect to as you mimic that stillness with your being. Noticing your reactions to the stillness, perhaps a desire to run, to fidget, to flee, resist, escape, distract. Just seeing if you can connect, drop into this vast space of the new moon. It's the blank canvas, a space of pure potential before the creative process, that fallow winter. Noticing if you can practice this effortless non-doing, just emptying out. Whenever you need to deepen into the posture or gently release, allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to do that. I'm just taking a few more breaths here, surrendering deeper, noticing where there's resistance. And then whenever you're ready, slowly releasing the posture, coming out and taking a counter pose, perhaps rolling down the spine, vertebra by vertebra, releasing into a mini shavasana, and noticing the echo or the after effect of the yin posture. It can be quite intense sometimes. So just honoring and intuitively letting your body guide you slowly to move in a way that is supportive for your body. And in our yin postures, there's no alignment practice. Rather, we have target points we're trying to access, or focused rather on how to get into the muscle, not the way we get into it. Which is to say, find your own unique way to heal your body. In yin yoga, we're healing the body with the body. Holding a posture so that hyaluronic acid can be released in the body after a few minutes, the youthful serum, the youthful acid. Moving the gelosol from a cold butter texture to a warm butter texture. The gelisol in the joints. And we're going to hug the knees in. In our next posture, it's going to be a two-sided posture, looking at that balance that we're creating here with the Libra energy, and just dropping the knees, the two knees, gently over to the right side. And opening the left hand out to the opposing wall, looking out over the fingers if that feels good for you. And resting here, the left shoulder is seeking to ground down onto the earth. And you can explore, if you need a deeper posture, wrapping the legs in an eagle pose, or maybe even straightening the right leg, whatever you like. However, allowing it to be a restorative pose. So we're just coming into about 70% of our maximum flexibility in an effort to bypass the muscle and access the connective tissue. And once you find your twist, surrendering deeply, noticing the beauty in the silence, and melting into the quiet. Giving your body and being time to rest and reset, restore every new moon, connecting to what wants to happen with the lunar energy, guiding and supporting you, nourishing you, and reflecting on the power of the infradian rhythm of the moon. We are so focused on the beautiful circadian rhythm, the 24-hour sun cycle, which mimics the male hormonal cycle, the 24-hour testosterone cycle. And oftentimes we neglect the power, the creative power of our infradian rhythm that takes place in the lunation. So here on the new moon, we're emptying out, resetting, and clearing space, and perhaps setting an intention in the coming days as we plant the seed for our lunation, the moon cycle to come, working with the moon as a timing element rather than just being reduced to a circadian rhythm, acknowledging our infradian rhythm, and expanding our awareness of our creative cycle to those beautiful 28, 29 days, 30 days between, in this case, the new moon to the next new moon. What seeds do you hope to plant and intend to cultivate over the coming days as the moon waxes? The moon will continue to grow until the full moon. And gently coming back, releasing very slowly, noticing the reverberation, the echo of the posture, and doing whatever feels right, maybe swaying the knees side to side, like windshield wipering the knees, perhaps rolling around the sacrum a few times, whatever you desire, before coming over to the left side, hugging the knees in and letting them melt or drop over to the left side while you open the right arm to the right side, gazing out over the fingertips gently, bringing the right shoulder to the earth, or perhaps adjusting the legs as you like here, letting this be your practice. Here we're really twisting and detoxifying the belly, supporting the digestion, as well as opening the lower lumbar spine, the low back, accessing mobility, and maybe closing down the eyes, letting the mind drift and daydream, getting into that lucid state, the dreamy state. Or if you need an anchor here, practicing a 6 count inhale and a 6 count exhale. Allowing yourself to rest and digest. That rest and digest state, we can only digest when we're in a restful state. So perhaps noticing the belly activating enzymes, your Agni digestive fire beginning to do its work if you're in a truly restful state. The sounds will help you know when you've entered into that restful state so you can digest. In the new moon, we're really in that digestion phase, really processing. When women are in their new moon of their infradian rhythm, of their hormonal cycle, their endocrine system or neuroendocrine system even, then their hormones are at the lowest phase, the lowest levels, and they have the greatest access between left and right brain hemispheres. So the new moon time in the menstrual cycle, which is the menstruation itself, is the time to reflect, review, and critically analyze or even evaluate, but in a relaxed state, intuitively trusting. Or perhaps even auditing and analyzing actively, journaling, reflecting back over the past lunation from new moon to new moon and seeing what you've achieved, what's grown, what was benevolent and good, what did you not like so much, and committing now to leaning in this new moon, whether it's the new moon in the sky or the new moon in your own personal infradian rhythm as a woman or person who menstruates, to evaluate and commit to leaning into what feels really good and phasing out what doesn't feel good. Whenever you're ready, taking your time, the last few breaths in this twist, and gently, in your own time, coming back to the center. We're going to practice another double-sided pose to really connect to that balance of right and left in Hatha Yoga. The right side of the body represents the sun. It's Pingala Nadi is the nadi that runs up the right channel. And the left side represents the moon, Chandra, the moon. And the Ida Nadi runs along the left channel and then along the center where we attain that we transcend duality, becoming even androgynous, enlightened, beyond the dual experience. We have Sushumna Nadi, the center of our being. So bringing your feet up into legs up the wall, ankles over hips, and flexing and pointing the feet, rolling out the ankles while we're here, saying thank you to your feet for all that they do for you. And then we're going to just stay here for a moment, breathing, letting this beautiful inversion help drain our lymphatic system, which has no metabolism unto itself. Just for a moment. Here, resting, feeling the pelvic bowl grounded and rooted on the earth. And then we're going to bend at the right knee, opening the right knee to the side and come into a figure four, dropping the left ankle down to be aligned with the left knee, if you like, or bringing it all the way to the butt, your glutes here, the thigh, and then threading the needle with your hands moving through the needle you've created, this figure four, clasping at the back of either the thigh or if you need a deeper stretch, the shin here, and gently hugging the left knee in, and we're accessing the right glute. So whatever you need to do to get a stretch in your right glute, go for it. If you want to take this as a pigeon posture, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just stay here. So our target is the glute, and whatever we need to do to get access to that, go for it. This is not an alignment-based practice. Inhaling and exhaling, perhaps 6 counts in and 6 counts out, to drop into a really relaxed, lucid, surrendered state, creating balance in the body and the mind, accessing the true nature of your soul, which is peace, and just tapping into homeostasis, that optimum, ultimate state of wellness, rather than chasing peak experiences or engaging in extreme behavior to get external validation or to prove yourself. Just see if you can walk that middle path in this posture. We're at 70% of our full capacity to bypass the muscle and get into that connective tissue, even scraping off scar tissue after we hold the pose for quite some time here. Increasing mobility, becoming flexible. Surrendering deeper. A few more breaths here. Just resting, honoring this moment in the creative cycle, honoring the rest, rejuvenation, and pause as integral and vital piece of the whole productive phenomenon, whereas in mainstream culture, the dominant systems, the patriarchy, the circadian rhythm, and the male testosterone cycle, the 24-hour testosterone cycle, is favorable or perceived to be favorable, and the feminine yin, the surrender of the new moon, the natural pause, is erased or devalued. So see if you can right that wrong, find the balance and the justice there, and acknowledge, honor, observe, and truly value the yin essence. That fundamental juxtaposition that within the yang, there's always that dot of yin inside, and within the yin, there's always an internal dot of yang. So cultivating a pool of yin here for you to develop true, authentic strength rather than false yang. And releasing, bringing the feet up, flexing and pointing the toes with your legs up the wall. And maybe even switching the legs in the air or even bicycling the legs, whatever you like, before coming into our second side, bending the left knee and bringing the left knee out, opening the left knee, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh or quadricep, and then threading the needle, clasping the hands behind the thigh or the shin, coming into about 70% of our stretch, seeing how you can access the left glute, even if that means coming into a different pose like sleeping swan, pigeon pose. Taking a few breaths here to drop in on the second side, noticing the difference between the two sides, yet how they are integral to the functioning of the whole. Finding beauty in the breath. As you regulate your system, inhaling, engaging the sympathetic nervous system, and exhaling, engaging the parasympathetic. Inhaling is the gas, and exhaling the brakes. Inhaling, we expand. And exhaling, we contract, valuing the two sides of the polarity, the dual experience of life with the breath. And then finding the awareness behind the breath, identifying with the peace, the stillness, the infinite, vast, empty consciousness, perceiving your breath. Coming into that balanced state of peace. It's your natural state of being. You don't need to strive to find it. You access it on your own many times throughout the day. You're just unaware of it because it's your normal, natural state of being, your I-ness, your awareness, the truth of your beautiful spirit, the eternal soul, the omnipresent witness, the observer. Letting the glute surrender deeper into the pose, the posture, just noticing what's happening. Perhaps some intensity might come up, deep emotion. If you need to cry, scream, laugh, release, please do. This is a safe and sacred space. This new moon is time to release and let go. So we can plant new seeds, your intentions, and then grow those little baby sprouts over the few days with the waxing moon, the Shiva moon, the third day moon, the first quarter moon, and so on and so forth, until the full moon. And releasing, taking whatever counter postures you need, and then eventually meeting in Shavasana, releasing into your corpse pose, the pose of true surrender, The legs are apart. The palms are facing up, slightly away from the body. You might like to tuck your shoulder blades a little bit to get cozy. Maybe bringing in a blanket, even an eye pillow or eye mask. Covering the eyes with a scarf. Turning off the lights. Dimming the screen. And resting. Surrendering. Releasing. Let go. Listen to the stillness. Listen to the silence. How beautiful. Peace. Feeling a wave of relaxation wash over your entire being like warm coconut oil from crown over the face and the neck, shoulders, arms, chest, belly, pelvic bowl, legs, and your feet. A harmonious distribution of all the energy you cultivated in this restorative practice throughout your whole being. The sense of rejuvenation, regeneration, and vitality through rest. Maybe a sensation of floating or a dissolving of the body outline. A sense of merging, expanded consciousness. And as you rest here, maybe imagining, bringing forward in your mind's eye, a meadow. And walking down a hill of flowers blossoming. You find yourself deepening into this exquisite, peaceful meadow. And laying down, finding a comfortable spot to lay down, feeling safe and secure, letting animal and plant medicine shine up through the earth like a green healing energy, nourishing every cell in your being as you lay here in this flower-filled meadow. Bringing forward in your imagination here as you lay in this meadow that you're on top of a mountain. And on top of this mountain, bringing forward your highest self, noticing how you feel as your highest self, what you're wearing, your expression on your face, and who are you with? Someone comes forward, embodied also as their highest self here, and you come face to face at a safe and happy distance, or however you feel. Maybe you embrace your partner as their highest self, and just noticing how you interact with each other when you're embodying your most abundant, beautiful selves. What's the nature of the exchange, and how there is reciprocity and an ability to communicate clearly and effectively, diplomatically, your truth, your emotional, physical, psychological needs, and able to set boundaries effortlessly in this exchange, allowing for a sense of creativity and collaboration to come forward as you and your partner walk along the top of this mountain, looking down at the most beautiful natural setting you can imagine. And then letting your partner go on their way, saying goodbye without attachment, honoring their wholeness and individuality. As you continue to walk forward in your own highest self, as your own highest self. And then finding yourself in the meadow, laying down next to yourself here in the meadow, and then merging and becoming one with your highest self at every level, at the cellular level, seeing you unite and merge. And getting up and walking back through the meadow, up the hill, and coming back into your body in your own time, maybe rolling out the wrists and the feet. When you're ready, maybe bringing the arms over your head, bringing the feet to the floor, bending the knees, and then rolling over to one side, cradling your ear on your bicep like a pillow, honoring this moment of transition, the fetal posture, being nourished and held, supported here. And taking your time, pressing down with your hands to come up to a seat, maybe taking easy pose or crisscrossing the legs. Maybe you want to come into full lotus if you're feeling really open in the hips. Bringing the hands to heart center and just observing now the balance between the left and right sides of your being, the giving and receiving, the emissive and receptive sides of your being, and committing to the middle path, creating homeostasis, that optimum state of wellness, and cultivating a deep pool of yin, that inexhaustible, real, true strength of the yin essence, tapping into this new moon in Libra, letting it fill you and nourish you. Thank you so much for joining me in your new moon yoga practice. And as it is a great privilege and honor to teach and to practice yoga, I say to you and you say to me, Namaste.